Welcome back to the Beginner's Guide to WordPress by Carolyn E. Cooper. In this episode, we're continuing our look at adding a new post and the options that we have in them. For those of you who are just joining us, we have created a new post. Mine is how to create a new post. We have added some content. We have styled that content. We've added links. We've learned how to add an image with a caption and why we want to do that. We've learned how to add other media such as PDFs and make them downloadable. We've learned how to add and import special characters. And of course, the thing that we've also learned is that if you are logged into WordPress and you have permission to edit a post or page, you will see an edit option. So I'm going to go back to my page where I am editing that post, and I thought I was there, so I'll just come back here and say edit. And here's my edit post. Here's my little how to create a new WordPress post. Now, I've had some questions about some of the other options on there, so I just want to cover a few things. By default, there is always one category that posts are assigned to. It will be the default category. Yes, you can change the default category in the settings, and we're not going to go into all of that in this post, but you can change the default category. But often you want to add a new category or create categories. You have two ways to do that. One of the easiest is to add new categories. Simply click on it in the post, and I can add a new category called, let's call it Beginner's Guide. And you don't want to make your category titles too long because they don't fit easily into your navigation that way. You'll see that I also have a thing called Parent Category. I could create a subcategory of uncategorized. So I'm going to say uncategorized is the parent, and I'm going to add Beginner's Guide as a subcategory of uncategorized. In other words, you have categories and you have subcategories. And by default, when you add a new category in a post, it will click and add that category. It will add that post to that category list. So yes, a post can be in more than one category. Now, you don't want to put a post in too many categories. That can harm your search engine rankings. They think that you're attempting to scam them by pretending you have more content than you do. So try to limit yourself to 2 or 3 categories. If I wanted to add a category as a parent category, in other words, it's not a subcategory, it's the same. I can just WordPress how to add new category, and again it automatically when I add it on the post page assigns this post to that category. And I may say no, I don't want to put it in Beginner's Guide, I don't want to put it in uncategorized, and I will click update, and it is now assigned to the category WordPress How To. Now, by the way, as I mentioned, you can click on categories in your sidebar navigation, and you will see all of your categories, and you can edit those categories. In this case, I'm going to say Beginner's Guide is not a child or a subcategory of uncategorized. It's a parent category. It's a top level category. Just like uncategorized, just like WordPress How To. Want to know what's your default category? It's the one that you can't use the checkbox on, just to let you know. That means that it has to stay there. Now let's just look at, I'm going to go back here and I'm going to look at our site very quickly. I've refreshed it, and you'll see uncategorized and WordPress How To. And you go, but wait a minute, what happened to the Beginner's Guide? If I don't have a post assigned to that category, I will not see that category. I sometimes have people who are setting up their WordPress-based site. They've gone in and they've created all their categories, and they haven't started entering their content yet. And they panic because they don't see their categories listed in their navigation. You won't see that category until there's actually a post assigned to it, because WordPress is smart enough to know if there isn't any content, there's no point in sending people there. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention about categories. Let's leap to a few other things. Let me just talk briefly about format because we're not going to go into this. It's actually a little more advanced than what I want to cover here. But basically now WordPress allows you to create a post type. What kind of post is this? Because somebody may want to create featured post which would appear, say, in a slideshow of featured post. WordPress now allows you to do that. That would be one of the purposes of formatting. For most of you, just use standard. Standard will make all your posts appear on your site by themselves. And that's really what you're wanting to use unless you're using a theme that uses a special format, and it will tell you if it is. Okay, now let's scroll down a little bit farther and we see tags. Tags are sort of like keywords or keyword phrases. They are used by certain search, I'm going to use beginning WordPress, certain directories, certain blog search sites, certain applications to allow people who want to follow information on a particular subject to be notified that this post does cover that subject. So you probably want to use them. Again, you don't want to use too many. It makes it less useful to your user, makes it more confusing, and in many cases harms your getting found by your target audience. So I might want to do a WordPress images and a WordPress post, and I'll just go ahead and do WordPress. So I've added, I usually try to limit myself to no more than 5 or 6, and once I've used them, I can click on the choose from the most used tags, and it will start showing me tags I've already used. I want to try and reuse my tags. There shouldn't be thousands of tags. There should be a small number of tags that clearly target what your site and your post are about. So that's my little bit on that. And again, nothing is saved until I click Update. I'm going to also cover just very briefly, I get questions about how do I turn comments off. There are 2 ways. One, of course, is in your settings where you can say no comments, but there are a lot of reasons why you might want comments, and you should have comments, both from a search engine ranking situation and from a marketing research. But you can always turn comments off on an individual page or post. So perhaps on your contact page you don't want comments, but you might want to have a testimonials page where you do allow people to comment because you want to encourage other people to leave good comments and testimonials. So up here under screen options, and normally in WordPress 3.0 you just see this little thing, screen options. Always click that little triangle which will open up or close your additional options, and you can choose discussion. And I'm going to go ahead and choose excerpt and tell you about that. I'm also going to show you revisions. And when I click on those and add those to show on screen and scroll down, I now have some additional options. I added this before about an excerpt, how to add images to and other content to WordPress post. On pages where you're, sorry, I'm on the wrong one. On pages where you're all your posts are listed, like a category page or a blog page or something. If you don't want to see the whole post, many themes will only show the excerpt, and you can control what the excerpt is. If you don't give it an excerpt, if you don't type anything in here, it's going to take a certain number of words or characters actually from your post and just display them until it runs out of space. If you want to control what it shows, that's how you would use excerpt. So for those of you who don't want to have, that's one way I should say that you can control that. The other one is down here under discussion. By default, it allows comments and allows trackbacks and pingbacks. If you don't want comments on that post, you can uncheck that box and it will not show the little comment form on that page. Normally I tell people allow trackbacks and pingbacks. This is where other sites are following changes and updates and additions to this page. You can choose whether you want to let them do that or not. I usually say leave that. The other thing is if you have people who are also working on your site or adding like other staff, you can find out who was the last person to make changes to this page by looking at your revisions. The last thing I want to show you over here is the featured image. Many themes, when they have a page with listing all the posts and they're only showing an excerpt or a small portion, they will allow you to set a featured image. In other words, that image will appear beside the post. And sometimes you want to set a featured image so that you show what the category or section or topic. So for example, if you want to make sure that everybody knows that this product is part of your shoes line, you might have a featured image that is a little icon of shoes. So you can set that featured image for post and it will show that image. It's kind of like a visual key to what is inside that post. So those are some quick additions that I wanted to show you. I didn't want to take up too much time, and we will be adding more content to this site as we get a chance, but that should get everybody started. Thank you.